especially because we have new information that I think will make a real difference in terms of your thought process about it. So I first wanted to say that please take time to like and subscribe and join us on Patreon for better ideas on investing and trading. Wanted to encourage you, given that Elon is deep in the whole AI space, to also take time to buy some NVIDIA, and AI is the symbol. You can look it up. They announced tomorrow. Stock is up 25% today. May be worth your time and money. So I wanted to review with you sort of latest developments on the Cybertruck that we're seeing that makes a huge difference. The first one was I was going to play some video for you from a guy named Steve Wesley, who is a former board member of Tesla, Stanford MBA, and he has a venture fund that's focused on the whole EV and transition to solar power and other space. Now, he's done very well for investors, so if you're a large enough investor to participate like that, I highly recommend you look at the Wesley Group, which is his fund. So I watched some video of Steve this weekend regarding the Cybertruck, and I wanted to play it for you, but it didn't come up on CNBC as I requested it, so I could. So I wanted to review a few points that he made. Number one, the Cybertruck is definitely potentially a game changer. What he indicated is that right now he's got some rumors out there that between September and January, the Cybertruck they'll deliver about 30,000 vehicles. Now, that's a pretty impressive number given all the delays that we've seen thus far. Number two, he referenced the fact that there's currently 1.5 million folks who've signed up for $100 to get one. So even if you lose a third of those potential buyers, it's still a very large number. Number three, he pointed out that if you think about it, the folks at Ford have been doing 650,000 F-150s a year, and it's sort of a central part of the operations of that company and the profitability of that company, so their stock may be in trouble as the Cybertruck buyers flex out into the space. Number five, what he also pointed out is that at this point, the Ford vehicles are able to, Ford is able to push out about 16,000 of these vehicles in the last year, and he was saying he expects that number to perhaps double this year in terms of number that are produced. Now, next data point that he presented was that he believes that Tesla will be able to do 250,000 Cybertrucks out of a facility in Texas next year, which would be a very, very big number. And I believe that's the reason why the stock price is bouncing higher today. So the thing that we covered a few weeks ago about how companies grow their stocks, etc., is that you'll see a stair-step process. They'll be delivering a group of products. Those products are doing well, and then they'll add a new product category or product on a stair-step manner up the graph, and the profit and revenue added by those entities is what drives the stock price higher. So this also is an example of what we've been talking about, which is the difference in attitude between the large money, long-term players and the short-term players. The short-term guys were saying Tesla's numbers kind of suck, they're okay, and the stock price levitated or dipped on the fast money or hedge funds. When it comes to the institutional investors and good fundamentals like adding new products that represent large amount of profit, that's when you can see a nice upspike in a stock price, and that can be very lucrative in the process. So in this case, Tesla is doing well in terms of the new products that they're delivering, coming online, delivering new profit and revenue that weren't really, they're part of the estimated numbers previously, but now as we're seeing those products just about to or being delivered, that's another variable. So if there's any difficulty that I've had and this is sort of a new concept I want to bring forward on the Cybertruck, is that um, this vehicle will enter sort of the trucking space. But I think there's something interesting that's going to happen with the Cybertruck that has not been discussed previously, and that is who, for who is the Cybertruck appropriate? So one of the most fascinating experiences I had is, you know, in 2000, I purchased a Volvo station wagon. And so just to get a feel for what was happening with values, I kept watching the value of the vehicle over the years as it aged. And what I was stunned by was that um, its decline in value was very slow. And I was like, why is that? And it turns out that, um, as we talk about a lot in economics, this concept called marginal utility. So everyone out of college wants the two-seater sports car to enjoy life. But as soon as you get married, that sports car has to go, especially in a high real estate situation where there are very few parking spaces. So now you have to shrink down the vehicle that you might consider buying to, well, it used to be a station wagon and fitting family, but now it's really one or two SUVs to optimize how space might be used depending on the number of people you might have or needing to make Home Depot runs, etc. The next concept, so that's a sort of a taken care of issue. And now we have people who trucks, and you have to have the functionality of SUV, and that's why the pickup trucks are so important. But what I think that is unique about the Cybertruck that I wanted to introduce today is, yes, it can do what an SUV does. We got that down. The issue, though, is what other marketplaces does, does the Cybertruck fit into that other entities may not? So one of the people that we've talked about several times who've talked about getting his Cybertruck is Sandy Monroe. So what Sandy was sharing was that his plan with his Cybertruck was to drive out into an area where there's a lot of deer, park the vehicle, and then go to sleep overnight. And in the morning, wake up and watch as the deer pass. And now he wasn't running an engine overnight that might scare the animals off. And he can catch deer that'll be surprised by the quietness that was there with the vehicle sort of hidden. And it's a great situation if you're a hunter. So he currently has what's called a Rubicon that he drives, a four-door Jeep, in the capacity I describe. But the Cybertruck is a better solution if that's something you enjoy. So I bring this concept up because what this introduces is, first we have just a car, so people will need that. Then we go to the SUV. You can handle multiple people. The Cybertruck is running at least one, perhaps two rows of seats. And then number three, you have the fact that folks can walk on the back. And so there's an enclosed cover there that is pretty robust when it comes to outside elements, etc. So I'm kind of introducing another use for the Cybertruck that makes it really appealing to a whole nother category, and that is the folks, I want to call it the camping category. So if you think about it, yes, Rivian did a good job of presenting their vehicle with its electricity potential as a great space for folks to look at taking out into the wilderness, because you now have electricity there. You can cook or run other items that you might need to. But the Cybertruck has a lot of space in that rear back that's nicely enclosed. So if there are elements, rain, etc., you can be in the back of that vehicle and have complete control of your environment. The one sort of question mark that I would ask about it is if in fact there's an add-on for Teslas that allows them to have a shell on the back of it like a lot of SUVs do. We now have the potential for there to be enough space to, in one corner, sort of put your cooking activities and perhaps put some kind of bathroom situation back there. And you have a self-contained unit that's basically a mobile home on the back of this vehicle, which I think would be
phenomenal and would open up whole new markets. So the argument I'm making is that I was concerned about the Cybertruck being a 100,000 plus vehicle, which would limit the number of folks that could afford it. But when you go in and add functionality where you could transition this vehicle into some kind of a camper, as well as being a family mover on, as well as being get stuff from Home Depot, when you keep adding all those functionalities, people are now willing to spend more because they want to have fewer vehicles that allow them to get more done, and that justifies paying that higher price. So as a result, I think we might end up seeing more demand for the Cybertruck than expected, and therefore higher numbers of its add to what Tesla is doing as we go forward is something that I think is really worth thinking about in the longer term as we move into the arrival of this vehicle into stores. So, yeah, expect some nice move for the stock based on the vehicle finally arriving rather than it being somewhat of a dream. And I think the impact it has may be larger than you expected and therefore very profitable for Tesla going forward. So we very much look forward to your comments on this. Next, I'd like to remind you of our health tip for the day. I would encourage you to consider the 25 leg lifts. We've discussed that numerous times. Also wanted to encourage you to do 20 minutes worth of walking daily as a both mental and physical health issue. And then we have the rest of our list that's down below on other health tips that have been presented by different doctors that we've interacted with over time. At any rate, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks for joining us once again, and get some Tesla stock before it blows through the roof here. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, Rot, Hebrew, arrivederci, Italian, and in Jamaica we say, no respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.